But either way, that my point being for the Longhorns, they are right now one of those it programs in college football. And I think as long as the Longhorns are winning, Longhorns could be the it program in college football. And because you can see the way the momentum has kind of shifted this offseason, how quickly things can start steamrolling in Texas' favor. Okay, let's get to a couple of items here about the win totals that have been projected. So Action Network, I believe, are the ones who had this year. Action Network, they came out with their SEC title odds for the Action Network. And they have Georgia, which no surprise there. Georgia plus 185, best odds to win. Oh, sorry, this is FanDuel. I apologize. FanDuel. FanDuel came out with their odds to win the SEC title, and they're plus 185 for Georgia. Texas second best odds to win the SEC title, plus 310, and then Ole Miss at plus 650. And they got Alabama at plus 950. So those are the top four teams in terms of odds to win the SEC. What I found interesting about this is if you start looking at the bottom of this list, I got it from SEC Unfiltered. It's, when you go look at teams like Arkansas or teams like Vanderbilt, man, they rarely even register, not even worth listing because the odds are so remote that they could end up winning the SEC title. But, Texas, when you start looking at the teams that Texas plays in their first year in the SEC, based on some of these win totals that have been projected for a lot of different, we saw Circa Sports throughout one. I got one here from Action Network. It's got, Vanderbilt projected at 2.5 wins. It's got Mississippi State projected at 4.5 wins. It's got Arkansas, Florida projected at 5.5 wins. Hell, they actually have Oklahoma projected at 6.5 wins. We saw Circa had them at 7.5. They got them at 6.5. They got Kentucky projected at 6.5 wins. These are all the teams that Texas plays in the SEC in their first year in the SEC. You got to. Yeah. This is your road trips too. You got to go to Vanderbilt. You got to go to Arkansas. We know going Fayetteville, it ain't easy. All right, we saw that last time. But Texas they were ill prepared last time they went to Arkansas. Now they understand. I think now they understand the assignment. Now they understand how hostile it's going to be, and they're a way better team now than Arkansas, and way better team than they were Sark's first year. But if you go look at home records, Arkansas and Vanderbilt have the worst home records in the SEC since 2019. Worst and second worst. Those are Texas' two road trips in the SEC, other than the A&M game, which is going to be crazy. Yep. So you got to go to your rivals, and that's going to be hostile either way. But Arkansas is not great at home. They beat Texas in 2021, but they're not necessarily a great team at home. Vanderbilt is terrible at home. You're going to steamroll Vanderbilt, and that comes at a perfect time. I think that's after that stretch of Oklahoma and Georgia, I believe. Then you go play Vanderbilt on the road, and A&M will be tough, but at least A&M's at the end of the season for you, so you got time to prepare for that, and that'll be a tough game on the road. But even A&M's projects to win 8.5 games. My point is, all these projected win totals, they project for Texas SEC opponents, most of them, to be bad teams. Only they're all going to be bad teams, but they got Georgia. I saw they got Florida, Arkansas as 5.5 wins. They got Mississippi State at 4.5. They got Vanderbilt at 2.5. Georgia and A&M are your two big dogs you got to play basically in the SEC. Improve yourself. Now, some of those teams will overachieve and they'll win more games than projected. But for the most part, this is why Longhorn fans feel really good about Texas' first year in the SEC, because that schedule is looking more and more favorable by the day.
Yeah. No, it definitely it's looking. When you see more and more of the odds come out, because you want to look at it originally and predict kind of what the odds are saying they're going to be, but seeing professional line makers say that a team like Arkansas is going to be where they're going to be, and Vanderbilt's that, but none of us keep up with Vanderbilt. None of us are really watching what they did in the transfer portal or seeing, so you want to see that the people that do have to keep up with this stuff and have to, watch every single team because they're making the lines and they'll be fired if they lose a lot of money in Vegas. So
exactly. That's nice. Your job, man.
That's your job.
No, you're right about that. I said it does look good. It looks favorable. That schedule more and more for Texas. All right, we come back. We'll get